Like the goal of a leader is to guide, not instruct. It's to put them in a position. What do they need to learn? A, can I teach them? Can somebody else teach them? And then put them in that position. And then if they're not succeeding, why are they not succeeding? Is it due to the resources that I've given them, the education that I've given them? Like, what are the reasons? And then to be able to put them back on track or whatever it is.
Welcome to the Jamodi Podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is Jamodi, just a matter of doing it.
Today we are joined by author, performance coach, and leadership instructor, Jason Fry. Jason spent 17 years in coaching as a player development coach, an assistant coach at the college level, head coach, and now currently serves as a performance coach. He helped facilitate the building of Pure Sweat Basketball, arguably the top player development company in the world. He is now a leadership instructor with Precision Components and Team Machine, working side by side with active duty Green Beret Nick Lavery. Jason has written 2 books, The Coach's Season and Mindful Minutes 365. His best stat of all is that he is married to an amazing wife and has 2 wonderful kids. Before we hear from Coach, take a moment to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on social media at Jamodi Podcast.
What's up, buddy?
Coach!
How are you?
Man, I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing great. Somebody said Mr. to me today, and I was like, yeah.
No. I used to teach ESL reading, and those kids would call me Mr. Coach. And I said, no, listen, it's one or the other, but I prefer Coach. If you...
Just keep it. That's why I put everything. All my social media is just Coach. It's Coach J. Fry, no matter where we're at. Just keep it as Coach.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I also appreciate the color coding of your books behind you.
That was on accident.
No way.
No way.
That's not on accident.
That was on purpose.
That's right.
It was on purpose. All the way up and all the way
Man. It's making it's kind of I went and organized my books because similar kind of at home a desk like that with books behind it. So Buzz Williams' wall to me just looks so incredible, like some of the pictures of him in his office and stuff. And it seemed like all the books were the same height and gradually kind of went down. So that's how I organized mine. But I do think the color thing's pretty sharp.
Thanks. Actually, you know who will have the most impressive book collection that you ever see, just the way it lays out? Bob Berg. You know Bob Berg?
Oh yeah.
So he's one of my mentors. Friend, I love him. He sends me all his stuff all the time, and when he's in his office, he just has his cup, and then he's got like the biggest wall of books, and he's probably like me. I can honestly say I have read every single book.
You've all of those that are up there you've gone through?
I've read every single one of those books.
See, I have a spot. I have one part that, and I don't want to be the guy that says I know people when I don't. Tell me the name again. You said
Bob Berg.
Bob Berg.
He wrote my favorite book. I don't have it because I gifted it to somebody. One of them, like the Go Giver. Go Giver sells more.
Okay, no, I don't know who that is. So like, and I don't like that. I don't know about you when people just say, oh yeah, and I don't know. So
he's awesome. Man.
Okay,
I love Bob.
What was the name the book? Go Giver.
He has a series, so it's the Go Giver, and then it's the Go Giver Leader. The Go Giver Leader. So I have the original one. It was called It's Not About You.
Ooh, love that.
And so Bob actually, they ended up rewriting it and calling it the Go Giver Leader. So keeping the series because it had less traction because people don't want to think that it's not about them.
No doubt.
But it isn't.
Yeah.
So he's always, if I ever take a picture of it, Bob's like, Jason, please send that back to me and I'll give you a couple other copies of the other one. I was like, no way.
No way. The Lubbock Trinity women's coach, when they have recruits come in, one of the first things that they remind the recruits is, you're not that important. And all their players have to be reminded daily that they're not that important. Not that they have no importance, because that's the difference, but that collectively within the group, not one of them is more important than the other. There's
Well,
just a humility that's created. But I love the fact that the title of that book and that they made him change it because people wouldn't buy it. That's awesome.
yes, yes. He said we had to change it. I said, no way. And the other one does have they added an extra story or two to make it different.
Yeah.
That story, that book is awesome. And I
Hmm.
love their gift of being able to teach business principles, life lessons, how we need to live our lives. So Bob's not a man of faith, but everything he teaches is faith based.
Hmm.
But he's not a believer. So it's like you're almost sitting there going,
Come on.
hey,
Come on.
it could happen. It could happen.
Yeah.
So when it does, I'll always be beside him regardless.
Nice.
He's
This
gonna
has
run.
already been awesome. Just getting to know you quick through that talk, but thank you so much for giving up your time coming on. I'm imagining we're going to get to a lot of different ways, talking a little bit of hoops, but also culture, maybe some shooting and some confidence and wherever else it goes. But man, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'm thrilled, happy, and we'll talk anything. I'll gladly listen and hopefully give a little piece of value.
You mentioned a little bit about how every day is kind of Friday for you, and so I'm fascinated to know a little bit about your life, what you do with the seconds. You and I have the same amount of seconds, but not everybody uses them the same way. So, what is your daily habits that set you up for success?
Oh, well, I actually started a company, or Healthy Leader is the program, and this is what sets me up for success, and hopefully more so as a dad and as a coach and as everything else. And then it all just seems to kind of work itself out. And so I wanted to be a better dad because my teenager and I were, everybody knows what
Yeah.
teenagers do, and just wanted to be better. And I originally started Healthy Leader off because that was the goal. And so I was reading 75 Hard, my man Andy Priscilla, and
Is the book good?
once you know the story, once you know the lessons of what you need to do, you don't need the book. I mean,
Yeah, because the challenge in it. Yeah.
if you want to follow the challenge, it's different. The book is just words out the entire challenge, and so I'll send it to you. But,
Nice.
it's good.
Yeah.
But so I got a
Yeah.
piece of that, and I was like, there's something else I could do. And so our core four that I do every day that helps me win, that I consider every single day a win, is if I get my breath work in, I get
Mm.
my reading in, I get my reflection, and I get my exercise. Those are my four non-negotiables. There's absolutely no way I'm going through the day without them. And the whole goal was you could do everything that I just said in 28 minutes, and I will help you transform your life in 28 minutes a day for 90 days, for 365 days, for as long as you want to stay with me. Let's transform. And how do the breath work? 7 minutes. I don't have 7 minutes. Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
I
you
don't have
do.
28 minutes.
Yeah.
And then people are like, well, 7 minutes of exercise, that's not going to work. Have you ever tried to run a 7 minute mile? Have you ever gone 7 1 minute rounds of something?
Yeah.
It's ridiculously hard,
Yeah.
but yet it'll have an amazing amount of impact. So we can get stuff done in that little time. Whole reason I planned it out the way I did was, okay, well, I was going to start with breath work, and then I was going to do my exercise. I was going to do my workout. So it was always breath work and then exercise. And what I had also read in Spark, that kind of triggered that piece, John Rady is his name, I think, Dr. John Rady from Spark, um, was that you retain the most amount of information after you exercise.
Mm.
I was like, well, let's plan it. Then we have breath work, then we have exercise, then I'm going to read because I wanted to learn something. So whether it's, I don't know, 10x is easier, or underneath my computer, I've got Outlive and Unplugged. Whether it's one of those books that I'm trying to do, if I can do that after I work out, then I'll retain that information. Maybe I don't have time to read after my workout. Well, I'll do it at nighttime, but I'll do it with a book that doesn't help me move my needle like I want to do in the morning. So it might be, no offense to Bob, but it might be Go Giver. It might be just an easy read. so that helps me go to sleep. That helps me wind myself.
Yeah.
If I read at 9 o'clock, I'm out, which is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So if that does end up happening, I don't get my reading in the morning, I do it at night with intentionality. And then the last piece is reflection. The military guys, they call it logging, uh, which is great because a lot of these tough people, oh, I can't write a diary. Perfect, great, let's log it.
Let's log it.
Let's just log it. And so, okay, deal. So all it is just write what happened today. It's my own, and we'll talk about this later, but what's my own debrief, my own daily debrief? How can I do that? What can I do to pack on what happened? How did I feel? Boom, I write all the time. There's never a time I don't have a notepad with me. So I try to write how I felt. How did I feel after eating? So then I can get a good idea of, okay, is that a good meal for me? How do I feel after waking up each morning? After I have a drink? Whatever it is, I need to know and I need to have the data so that I can examine and then use that to 30, 45, 60 days later go, okay, what was really, really good? What did I notice? Where's the trends? And then how can I use that to change, adapt, and alter for my better?
Yeah. Coach, that's really good. I love getting to learn about people's routines in the mornings. When you said your core four, I leaned in because I wanted to know what those four were. I love the four things that you do. But then when you said 28 minutes, that is the part that kind of made me pause. I do agree. I think you can get your 7 minute workout in. Like, God, you try to do as many push-ups as you can in 7 minutes. You'll be gassed. Like, that's really hard. Reading in 7 minutes, like obviously you're probably doing more of that throughout the day, or maybe you're not doing 7 minutes each on these, but I'd like to go to breath work. What does that look like for you? I'm a guy that has tried the Wim Hof method before, and which anybody that's never tried it, the 3 rounds for like as long as you can, the 30 breaths, and then the pushing the air out and hold it. It kind of messes with you. Like they say, don't do it around a pool or don't do it because like you do get a little bit loopy lightheaded on it. But then I don't know. I mean, I've never done it sustained. Like you kind of talked about, it's not just one day, but how do you feel in 30 days, in 60? I wonder what it would be like to do that, but I'd love to learn about your breath work.
Yeah. So in the Healthy Leader program, we actually went through. So mind you, I've done Healthy Leader, and I did it from 20 to 23 without missing. I only missed 3 days in 3 years of doing those four things: of writing out, of sending it out to every single community member, of doing the entire thing. I only missed 3 days, so I've got a ton of stuff. And what we actually did roughly 24 different breath work methods.
Okay.
So there's all sorts. And so our goal was, okay, every week we're going to introduce you to a new breath work. Every 3 weeks, then we go, okay, well, which one of those three did you like best? Let's do it. Let's practice it again. Once you find your mojo, once you find your breath work that you like doing, I don't need you to try it differently.
Yeah.
I need you to find your best. And once you find that breathing, go stay with that, please. And so I don't want anything else. So
what's the benefit? What's the benefit from daily doing that?
Number one, consistency, discipline, motive. That M word of motivation, which I don't like. Building that helps improve. There's so much. Everything around you, everything inside of you is predicated on your diaphragm. Everything. So it improves your central nervous system. It's improving the way your organs work by slowly and controlling your breathing. But it's also dependent on what am I doing? Like, what's my intention for my breath work that day? Maybe I want to down regulate, which means I need to calm down and I need to lower, or I need to up regulate, Wim Hof style. So it's just like you're not going to do Wim Hof and then go to bed. There's absolutely no way that's
right. Right.
You're going to do Wim Hof and then go get in the plunge.
Yeah.
Wim Hof and then go straight into your workout and go, I'm gonna crush it.
Yeah.
So it's just dependent. What's my intention? What do I want to get out of my breath work? So it's important to know that if I'm struggling with stress, high stress, breathing is great. I also read today that just reading 6 minutes, which was good because it ties into my reading for 7, it is just as effective as a 30-minute yoga session.
Wow.
Reading. because it lowers everything. It lowers your heart rate. It lowers your stress. It lowers your cortisol. Well, how many people can you think of that are so high stressed just need to read a book?
And we all have 6 minutes to anybody. Most things in your life that are worthwhile doing, if you say you don't have time, it's kind of crap.
Yeah,
Like you gotta look at your day. If you're not in control of your day, then your day is going to take control of you really quick. But we all have time to do those things that you're talking about.
yes, yes, sir. And so like my breathing. For a lot of people, they got the Navy SEAL box breathing, right? So they go
Yeah.
4 4 4. Well, there's another 4 that people don't understand. It's box, right? So it's
Yeah.
4 4 4. Oh, don't forget that 4. So then it's 4 more on your hold after you exhale. So some people will be like, oh, all of a sudden they recognize I can't do that. Okay, so let's do 4 2 4 2. So inhale, hold for 2, exhale 4, hold for 2. So that one is probably one of my favorites.
Hmm.
I do most of the time. Another time I might just sit there and go, I'm gonna put my clock, put it down. I'm gonna hit 7 minutes, and then all I'm gonna do is actually watch the rise and fall
Hmm.
of my belly, and I just want to watch my chest. If I want to breathe from my chest, I'll do my chest. If I want to breathe with my belly, I want to watch and focus on my belly. So that's a great mindfulness practice as well for them to do, so that they can calm down, whatever it is. And so it's great for dealing with injuries. If you have somebody who just immediately gets injured, dude, the only thing I want you to do is hear my voice, and I want you to focus on your breathing. You don't think about anything else. You don't think about injury, what just happened. You don't think about what could be. Oh, I may never play again. You don't think about any of that. You
Yeah.
hear my voice, and we're going to focus on breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth, and just taking it. So once you control that, you control a lot.
Yeah.
And one other key thing about breathing is that most people don't know that they don't breathe enough. I catch somebody and they'll be like, was I breathing?
Yeah. Or they're super like we all are guilty of super shallow breaths throughout the day where I'm getting in the bare minimum to basically not fall over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's one of those things, like my sister didn't realize that she wasn't breathing. And her
Wow.
test, her data, she was doing the strip on her chest, and she found out. She's like, I don't know what I said, I know. Most people don't know that they're not breathing.
Wow.
So like when you're exercising, really focus in on throughout, even your bench press. It's not just like a hold and then a push and then like just try to breathe through it. If
Yeah.
you're having to do all of that, then it's your weight's probably too heavy, especially for somebody who's learning how to do it first.
And I'm wondering if coaches are like listening to this and they're like, okay, get past the breath work. Let's get on to something else. Why is this so important for coaches that eat? Because I'll let you go first and then I have an idea, but I'd love to hear, why do you think coaches need to be conscious of this?
Well, we'll probably get to it later. They need to be practitioners of it as well. It's not for their kids. It's for them to be the example.
Yeah.
If I can breathe, and even if it's just three quick breaths, if I can breathe, then I can down regulate a little bit and then make better decisions. I can not yell at Tommy for missing the layup 6 possessions earlier, and it's over. Tommy knows he missed it.
That's right.
You're going to call the timeout,
but you still suck, Tommy. I just want you to remember that.
Yeah. So it's one of those things. Like it really bothers me that stuff is happening.
Yeah.
And these kids are being scarred. So guess what? Breathing is going to prevent you from scarring your players. How about that? Breathing is going to prevent you from saying something you shouldn't say. Breathing is going to allow you to make a better decision in. That's why.
It's good. And my thought kind of goes alongside with that, which is we can't show up empty. Like for our players, we have to show up full, ready to give. But if we're empty, and not just inside, but with maybe our conditioning, maybe with our nutrition, with our hydration, with our breath, with our focus, we can't be our very, very best for our players. And so showing up full to me is having something like this. And somebody said like, I'm not perfect with it. I was like, well, we're not going to be, but as intentional as possible. And like you, man, 3 days in 3 years, Like that's insane with your consistency. One of my buddies, Mono Watts at PGC, said it's not one quiet time that changes your life. It's a lifetime of quiet times. And that's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, you can quote Mono all you want, man. I'll soak it up. I love him.
There's something special about that dude, no doubt.
Yes. And, like it's always going to come down to intention. What's my intention for the day? What's my intention for the conversation that I have with you? What's my intention for my conversation with my wife? That's my 2024 focus of this entire year because of my mentor who I get a chance to work with. He just, everything always comes back to what's the intention. And so that's why we did start Healthy Coach, was so that coaches had that ability to truly improve their life so their impact can be better, so they can have more energy, so that they can get that sweat equity built with the players. Because if coach ain't running with you ever, that's not good. Like that just doesn't help with your credibility as a coach.
Yeah.
When coach demands something else from another kid and the kid never sees it from them, dude, you lost your player. You might have even lost your team by not having that type of credibility. So it's one of those things, like that's the whole reason I built it out, so that coaches could be better for themselves and then therefore better for those others.
Man, instead of waiting till the very end of this, like in kind of the outro part, Healthy Leader, how can coaches get into that? What does that program look like? Because I'm super intrigued.
Yeah, so Healthy Leader, Healthy Coach are going to be two different programs. The Healthy Coach is strictly designed for coaches.
Okay.
So the premise is different. Healthy Leader is if you're a CEO, you're you're whatever it is, you're running a company, and we have that for you. Healthy Coach is strictly designed for, I work with players. What does my 30, 60, 90 look like? What is all these different things? The stress management, yes, we can put that in Healthy Leader, but we also really focus it on coaches so that they have a model to give their players. Everything we do is built so that it hits the coach, but then it truly impacts everybody else. The CEO leadership, the Healthy Leader there, it's more strictly focused on, hey, I improve me for my 9 to 5, so that improves, and also my 5 to 9. And so you go to coachjfry.com, and then you click on, it's got Healthy Leader right there, and you can find out more information. I usually have all my healthy coaches, because most coaches with me are on Twitter. So then I go into a DM and we talk about what it's going to be, and then we tell them how it's going to go.
Nice. Definitely excited to check that out. I do want to ask one question about the exercise piece. I'm like most coaches, and it doesn't have to do with being a former player or not. That doesn't matter. But my weight, my health fluctuates throughout the year. Healthier in the spring, summer, and fall. Less healthy, let's just say, in season. Because of a lot of things we've already talked about. We forget to take care of ourselves, forget to breathe, or like me, after a loss, I stop at the gas station, I grab two boxes of Raisinets because that's my comfort food, and I eat it on the way home. Maybe too transparent there, but workout wise, man, maybe a good template, or I'm the king of switching up plans, but I'm always on a plan, but I switch it up a ton. What do you think?
Intentionality comes back to it. Having a clear goal of what it is that you want. Yeah, we call that the coach 15 instead of the freshman 15. We got the coach 15.
Yeah,
during the season, it's very true.
It's on right now.
We do neglect ourselves, but then the same thing, we neglect ourselves, and the kids are the best BS radar detectors that there are, and so they can tell. So you don't have an off day. Well, why do you not have an off day? And then why do the kids not have an off day? So it's being able to understand, where are my kids at? Where am I at?
Yeah.
And then if my kids and I both need a day off, we actually, in the season, it's better and more beneficial to give us the day off, and so that they can relax and rejuvenate, because we can't perform high if we don't recover. You can't keep going. And that's one thing that Michael Jordan looks really, really great. Heck, LeBron's great in the fourth. KD's great in the fourth. All these guys are really, really great. JT, Jason, let's go. He's great in the fourth. But why is he great in the fourth? Because his training level is so high that because he recovers well, he goes slower down. It's impossible to stay high. You cannot do it. But all these other jokers who don't train well and don't train with intention, they just go down faster. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
Jason's going solo, and then now he looks so far out of the gate. Jalen, all these guys that are, it's because of their recovery. It's because of their intentionality. So for a coach, we can give programs, but if it's not specific to them or they're not willing to even stay with it, heck, if you say you don't have time during season,
Yeah.
and you do a standard and you have a standard workout of 60 minutes that we typically do, that I do with my coach who coaches me on my strength conditioning. When I work with them, I've got 60 minutes and I do my cardio at the second part of the day. So maybe as a coach, I don't have the extra, so I just have my 60. And then in season, I don't have 60. Well, great. Let's do one less set of every single thing. So then we get 2 sets instead of 3.
Yeah.
We get 3 sets instead of 4. But so we can really trim it down and still get the benefit. The whole reason why we get the Coach 15 is not just because we do it a little bit less, but we stop completely.
We throw it out, no doubt.
And then we don't give ourselves grace.
Yeah. Yeah.
And guess what? I effed up. I missed one day.
Let's go to Crumple Cookie or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Crumble Cookie. Let's just do that. And oh, poor me, I didn't do it. Guess what? I don't care that you messed up yesterday.
Yeah.
But let's stay back on the journey and let's continue. I would always say with my point guards, we don't ever snowball. We don't ever turn one dumb turnover into 2. We don't. So no snowballs are allowed. Same thing with coach. So if coach says that, hey, that's not allowed, well then guess what, coach? That means missing 2 days in a row can't be allowed. Whether it's okay, well, maybe I only have my 7 minutes. Okay, well, I can write you 7 minutes and get you.
Yeah.
So while your players are warming up, you do 7 minutes of fitness. Imagine what that does to them, seeing you do that, being intentional. It puts it all together.
Coaches, we are all searching for ways to better evaluate players in order to give meaningful feedback. Over 15 years ago, I put together a test called the Jamodi Skill Rating. The JSR takes players through a series of tests involving basketball skill or athleticism, giving them one rating at the end. Their JSR rating will give you clarity on what needs to be discussed with players and parents on areas they need to focus on improving. I test our players at least 4 times each year. They're able to compete against each other, past players' scores, and most importantly, their past performances. If you'd like to start testing your athletes, email me at jamodipodcast@gmail.com for more information. Culture is a word that it is a buzzword now, and it's been around for a long time, but coaches are just happening to say that more. Every press conference is, we're going to have a great culture, we're going to play fast, we're going to shoot the 3 a ton. Like that, that's something like that. And maybe it's true, but it is a buzzword, but it is super important. In your opinion, and this is really interesting because the high level players you get to be around, your basketball history, and then also the other kind of, groups and people you mentor, how does it drive performance?
I really don't believe that. I think your leader is a major driving factor, but everybody else is the driving factor. Everybody else. So the leader spreads the vision, but everybody else understands the mission. And so if everybody understands the mission, then they get to drive it. The leader should, technically, like Jocko says, should be able to detach and see bigger picture, and that's all he's focused on. And then he can guide. Like the goal of a leader is to guide, not instruct. It's to put them in a position. What do they need to learn? A, can I teach them? Can somebody else teach them? And then put them in that position. And then if they're not succeeding, why are they not succeeding? Is it due to the resources that I've given them, the education that I've given them? Like, what are the reasons? And then to be able to put them back on track or whatever it is. What is needed? So a lot of coaches forget that part, which then hurts culture. I was actually talking with a player yesterday, and she couldn't understand why none of the recruits wanted or signed with their school. She's like, the coaches, I can't believe that I'm like, what are we starting with? We're starting with how we talk about our leaders. And great cultures don't talk crap about anybody else.
Mm.
The leader does not talk crap to the assistants about the players.
Yeah.
The leader doesn't talk crap to anybody about what's happening in house. The players do not, like, that's the reason why you're seeing the Celtics do what they do, is because they are genuine right now. They love each other.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yo, the gossip train left. And you won't hear them talk about that. You might end up culture. If you want to build culture, you have the reverse gossip game. Bob Berg, who we talked about, Bob Berg gave me this idea and said, if you hear somebody talk bad about somebody else, then immediately switch and say one thing that you like about that person or that they've done well. So Tommy, God, he keeps turning the rock over and it's driving me insane. And Tommy's not there to defend himself, number one. So that's the worst thing of gossip. Well, then I come in and go, yeah, hey, man, Tommy, though, set an amazing screen. He popped out, drove the ball. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. He just messed up on the execution.
That's kind of disarming, like when you do that. Yeah.
Yes. And so now what's that person do? That person recognizes, hey, gossip's not allowed in here. Maybe I need to jump on that train. So it's a whole lot easier when the team drives the mission.
Man, I love the idea of great culture. They don't have nobody talks crap about each other. Like, I think that is awesome. What about, so I just want to push back on our idea of what about a player that sees an issue with culture, a coach that sees an issue? Is there a time for those inner circles within a team, not to bash or talk, but to try to come up with solutions or make issues come to light? Because in my thought in that is co-creators of culture with our players, wanting to have, I hate the safe space thing, but a culture of accountability where we can talk to each other. How does that fit in with that idea of don't talk crap?
All right. You see 3 stars and 2 boxes?
Yeah.
All right, so we're just going to use this as the analogy, okay? I got this from Mike Neighbors, legend.
Awesome.
Mike is one of the most genuine, authentic people that I know. So he calls it the evidence of excellence. So when you say this about pointing this out and doing this, number one, set the standards early. If you're the leader, when you come in, hey, we need to do this together, because a leader that sets the standards doesn't make it, and then the culture's bad because the leader did it. But if the leader says, hey, we need to get together as a team and we need to set what the standard looks like, not the expectations, the standard. What does standard look like? So when we go here and we go with the top one, and the top one, let's use basketball as our example. If the top one is an All-American, what are the standards or what are the behaviors and the actions of what an All-American does in the training room, in the locker room, in the weight room, in warm-ups, in the classroom? Like, we can name all these different areas and go, what's an All-American look like? So you tell me, and this is Matt, you telling me, what does an All-American player look like in the weight room?
There's a level of excellence with every rep. We don't skip reps. We make sure the weights that we're using are pushing us. When they're not going, they're not worried about themselves. They're invested in their teammates in that time. And they're also zooming out from like in between their sets to see what does the weight room need. They're taking maybe laps and giving some high fives with each other. There's a level of focus and effort to everything that they do. There's nothing wasted in that time. That's what I feel like an All-American looks like.
Okay. So that's perfect. So now let's say your team decides all that. So we say, what are behaviors?
Right.
Behaviors are boom, 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 what you just listed. Now we go to the second one and we go, okay, well, you're somebody who made all district. What are the behaviors of somebody who made all district look like when they're in the weight room? And so we would go all the way down. The top 3, the third one is going to be just below the line, because for a reason. Below the line is somebody who just does enough to make the team. we all know somebody who does just enough work. It could be an assistant, it could be a manager, it can be somebody on the actual team playing. We all know somebody who does just enough. They do just enough to hopefully not get called on. They do just enough to make it. So they're at the bottom there, right? So what are the behaviors and actions of somebody who does just enough? What does that look like in the weight room, in the whatever? And then we have this, the box that I checked. The reason why it's under the line is because these are the behaviors we don't. So what is somebody who we don't remember? We've all got somebody on my team. Like I looked at my roster when I was playing ball. I'm not going to name the year, so then you guys can't age me. And I looked at that and I was like, that dude was on my team? I honestly couldn't remember him. So it's one of those things like, what did he do? So what are the behaviors that would get you to not be remembered? And then the last one is, what are the behaviors that get you gone? So when you have this, so one of the greatest ways to do all this, to circle back, is to do this example with your team in whatever it is that you do. So then we're setting the standard of, okay, I want to be an All-American.
Yeah.
I want to be somebody who hangs their freaking jersey in the rafters. So what does that look like every single day? And when it doesn't happen, all I got to do as a leader is go, hey, Matt, that thing you did earlier today, would you say you were at All-American status there? And then you would say, Coach, man, you're right. And so all it does is it's not us calling them out. It's us going, hey, where were you at in this stage? And it allows them, because they made it. They did this together. You were just guiding them in the conversation. And now it's theirs to own. So you could print it out. You can make your own book. Like Neighbors has his own book, but he's like, hey, just start with 5 or 10 different things. And then as you progress and you get really good, he's got 25 or 26 different areas. So they have a much bigger book. But it's really, really good to do at any level, no matter where you're at.
No, I see a huge value in doing that, because majority, especially at the high school level, majority of players don't really know what high level is, what it looks like, what it feels like. And I think coaches were guilty of assuming that they do, and then hammering them when they're not meeting those levels that have never been discussed or like you said, written out. And anytime that you can get guys making a list themselves, creating it themselves, kind of like a commitment statement, you get to hold them accountable to their aspirations or the standards that they've set. Way more impactful than, here's our culture, it's a beautiful acronym, I put it on a shirt for you, believe in it. Way better to do what you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's easier to live.
Yeah.
It's easier to live because the acronym is not easy to live. All this stuff is like seeking perfection, and perfection doesn't happen. And so if we can do this, then there's a striving, there's a standard. The acronym is, hey, this is my way or the highway.
Yeah.
This is a standard that we try to emulate, to live by, so that we can constantly be reminded. When you go to coach and go, hey, you do the BELIEVE acronym, can a kid go, Coach, you're not doing the B, whatever the B is. You're not doing the B. No, probably not. But I mean, if there are standards that are set, hey, Coach, you're not coaching like an All-American today.
Yeah.
It's just an easier way to hold us accountable and to live it at a higher level. And so the more we live high standards, just the better our team and the better our culture becomes.
You hit on something though, really, really important there too, about we as coaches want to hold our players accountable, and we do. Do they have the ability to hold us accountable? And I would think in most cultures out there, I've been a part of them and probably leading those cultures that don't allow those programs that don't. I would imagine most programs, that accountability is only running one direction. Do they have the ability to hold us accountable when we hold them too long after games? When we go past the deadline of practice? When we say that we're going to allow us to work through mistakes and then we don't allow them to do that in that moment? That again, I think that is the type of culture, the type of standards, the type of principle or pillars, the environment that I like to be a part of. But man, that's hard. I don't care what level you're at. It's hard if control is what you seek, and maybe the control is coming from the fear that you have of failure, the fear of losing your job, the fear of losing control of the team. But man, I don't know. You probably feel this way. The more that I give up control, especially in those meaningful things, the more I seem to have it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. Like, how many coaches lose their jobs if they have amazing relationships with their players?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see it when they break apart from that, and that's like having that accountability. And I'll give you an example really quick that I love, and I encourage any of the coaches that I actually work with. So imagine you're the head coach. How many staff do you have on your team?
Well, I mean, really, how many are imagining?
Or even how much staff do you have that are involved with you at practice?
Yeah, in my practice, I have 2 other assistant coaches that are part-time that help me out. Yep.
Okay, so let's just go with the rule of 3 right here.
Yep.
How many players are on your team?
Last year we had 11.
Okay, so we're gonna group each team off, or each coach off. So you get 4, coach gets 3, he gets 4. Right? Yep. So we got 4, 4, 3. And so what we're gonna do here is for 1 week, you get your 4. And your only goal really is to monitor your 4 throughout practice. And then at the end of practice, you're going to debrief as an entire group. So you and your 4 are going to discuss some things all week long. You're going to spend 5 minutes after practice, and then you're going to go because you told the parents you were going to leave 5 minutes after practice is over. And we're going to do this so that you're never lying. And then your assistant coach gets the 3, your other assistant coach gets the 4. And you are asking poignant questions. Hey, doing daily debriefs like military after action reviews. We're going to talk about our sustains, what went well, what didn't go well, and then what happened that we didn't think would happen.
Yeah.
And so if we talk about that and we kind of learn, and they're able to discuss, because most teams will not, the quietest person stays quiet.
Yeah.
And then the loudest person speaks up. So I never allow that in any stretch of the imagination. The quietest person always goes first, and the loudest always goes last, so that quietest actually speaks up, because I need all perspectives. So if you get a week of that group, and then on Friday, your assistant coach goes, hey, Matt, you're getting Tommy next week. He's in your group. Watch out. He just broke up with his girlfriend. So just be understanding as you're watching out that there might be a little bit of difference. Well, that's going to give me great points that I would not have known had we not done this, had we not been able to. And then I can either talk to Tommy about it, check in with him, and then give him grace when he screws up. Give him, just be able to do that and then progress through. So you think about how many meetings that I could get. I'm getting 5, 6 throughout the season every single week. So those just add up and add up. So this practice will move a team's needle, and you will get almost, I don't want to say
sure. Yeah.
But you get almost everything out of your team that you can.
Yeah, you guarantee me 100% on getting everything out of my team. I don't know about that, sir.
Yeah, I don't deal with absolutes.
But Star Wars. But
is
only a Sith Lord deals in absolutes. And every time that I bring up Star Wars in one of these talks, I instantly regret it, because I feel like I just lost a fifth of people.
But hey, there's still teaching involved.
Yeah, but journey, yeah, you what?
I said the hero's journey. That's Star Wars.
Oh yeah, there's so much gold, the darkness and the light. But I think I'm really glad that you brought that up. I think I needed to hear that. I'm intentional with meeting with every player in my high school program, because I'm the only full-time coach of our high school group. I've got 2 JV coaches that only really come in season, 2 varsity assistants that come in season. Blessed to have all of them. They do a great job for me. But out of seasons, I do 10-minute meetings with the guys once every 3 weeks, where 5 minutes I talk, 5 minutes they talk, and they can say anything, ask anything. It's open, and I have some questions that I'm prepared for, but like that's good. But I do struggle in season to give my assistant coaches time to build those relationships. I can't imagine how much more invested they would be, how active they would be. My relationship with my players, they get better and better every year. But man, no relationship grows without time, investing into that relationship. And I don't give those guys time. I hope, which is horrible to base our game on hope in any way. I hope that they just figure out a time to do it, or in passing, put their arm around. But man, like, why not be more intentional? It's better for my players, better for my coaches. We get to know their stories more. That's really good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you can't, and that's the thing. You can't invest without intention.
Yeah.
You can say, "Oh, I'm investing to save for later." What's the intention behind my investing?
I would argue, like, if you're a coach and you tell me that, yeah, I've got great relationship with my players, my question would be how. Immediately would be, how do you do that? And I think if they don't tell me a plan, most likely this is bad. I don't know. There's a chance that they don't have the relationships they think they do. Unless they're telling me a plan like you just said, a 10-minute meeting plan. Even if they just say, man, we have an exit meeting, which most coaches do, but I think that's scratching the surface, right? We have an exit meeting at the end. Like, give me something that you actually do where it is scheduled, they sign up, there's a time, and now the frequency to me is because you just do it once or twice a year, man, that's 187 days. You're telling me that for 185 of them, you didn't meet, you didn't talk. I don't know, going back to our workout things, like, doesn't seem like that's a lot or enough. But if they are intentional with it, and I think yours, that plan of smaller groups, man, Terry Butterfield was head coach at UTD, University of Texas at Dallas, and he just retired. But having a hoops talk with him, it made me think of his leadership groups that he did. He would take older players and create small groups with them, and they would intentionally meet and talk. But I love the idea of bringing my assistant coaches in, and that is definitely something from our talk that I'll be borrowing.
Yeah, well, and think of it this way too. And this is like, it works in every situation. They did a research study where they said, okay, they asked these people, and they said, I think they were college students, and they said, how would you rate yourself in how good you look? Well, every single one of them rated extremely high. How would you rate yourself on honesty? Oh, extremely high. How would you do this? So they perceived themselves as super high.
Yeah.
And then they said, when was the last time you cheated? And it was, I cheated in the last year on a test. So really, your integrity is not that high. And then all this stuff. So we all perceive ourselves as being, oh, I'm a relationship coach. I have great relationships with all my players. Well, if you don't have the data to prove that, if you don't have the intentionality to prove that, then I'm going to tell you, you're probably in that same group that thinks that they're super good looking and not. I'm in that group. I think I'm super good looking, and my wife might say otherwise. So she'll just say, oh, you're funny.
Great sense of humor.
Yeah, you're so funny. Well, it's just one of those things of, we often overestimate ourselves, but then underestimate everything else.
That's a good point. Good nugget right there. Confidence. I think the question that I ask is, how do you build confidence in players? I think there's a flaw in the question, but it's one that I hear a lot. And so when I ask it, I'm always curious to kind of get, does somebody catch, and I'm not trying to set you up, but does somebody catch the flaw, or just what your thoughts are, and especially in the space we are with training players and people, how do you build confidence in your players?
Man, well, you ask certain players at certain times about confidence. That's the thing. Where am I at in my relationship with the player? Where am I at in my timing of working with this player? Like, how much time, where are we at? I need to know that first before I can say from a confidence standpoint. Because if I'm teaching you how to shoot and we're really focused on maintaining balance, and you have not been maintaining balance on your shot, you've been laying out one leg, well, guess what? You're not going to be very confident for the next who knows how long until I get you balanced.
Yeah.
Until being on balance feels good, you're not going to be confident. You're not going to be confident in your strength and conditioning in your workouts and taking your shirt off in front of the mirror until something hits. Like the amount of sweat equity, the amount of work got put in with that intentionality, like all that stuff got put in, and then you're seeing it. So
Yeah.
confidence is just like a player development or leadership development or anything that's quote unquote development is a time game. Like we must be focused on longer term. So I'm going to say the things and I'm going to say, okay, well, A, did you do your process? Your process as a player is like mine is for Healthy Leader, our core four. Did you do your 15-minute workout, what you committed to? And if you did, good, done. Roger that, check. Next day, same thing. So confidence, how I build confidence with somebody is going, okay, well, did we do our process every single day for 30 days in a row? And so the answer is either yes or it's no. I went 29 out of 30. Great. You're going to be more confident than where you were before. Or you're going to be like, dude, I messed up. I couldn't go 30. I'm a little bit bummed. But you stacked 29. And so you're going to be able to go and progress a little bit more and more as you follow your process, whatever your process ends up being. Once again, it just comes back to time. I don't know where I'm at with somebody. Like I take pride in the fact that I can develop kids' confidence, but it's one of those things like, are you willing to legitimately shoot the way we're practicing? And that one focus is every single time that you shoot when you're not with me. When you're shooting with dad, when you're shooting with mom, when you're shooting with your homie, when you're shooting with coach, are you doing that? And if you are, then we're going to develop that confidence a whole lot faster.
I think develop is a good word because when I read that, what build confidence, to me, the flaw is that, I mean, I can't build confidence where it doesn't, I can't build confidence where preparation hasn't already been there. Like preparation has to be first. The work you kind of said, do like once they've done that, and that's where maybe you can develop a process that will allow them to build confidence because they put in the time doing the action that you're asking them to do. To say that I can just build someone's confidence, not if the preparation's not there, if the processes aren't there. That's the equivalent of a teacher standing at the front of the class. Kid walks in, she said, hey, be confident on your test today. And that kid in his brain goes, I didn't study at all. Her words are meaningless, right? Like, and that's where I think where building confidence, developing confidence, once the process, once the preparation, then it's how you can be more efficient in that. How many reps does it take to continue to build on what you've done? And then it's about what that self-talk is. How are you pushing yourself when things don't feel like they're going very well? Are you giving up your confidence freely to negative people instead of holding on to it because of the preparation? I think you nailed it though. If you don't spend the time and if you don't know the person, me just going up to like my son's playing later today and I don't know his teammates, but I said, hey, be confident today, Ari. They look at me and go, like, they don't know who I am, but so that's a good point on developing confidence.
Yeah. Well, it's a rep game too, like it's reps, failure, success. Reps, failure, success. Like that's all it's going to end up being is just that transfer of I'm going to succeed a whole lot less. Can I continue to rep in the midst of failure in order to just slowly improve? And it's them seeing the improvement that triggers the aha moment to continue to do it. The data, hopefully they're writing, hopefully they're logging, to where they can say, okay, well, I'm seeing the improvement on the paper. Some days it doesn't feel like it, but I'm seeing it. Like it's there. It's showing me that as I rep it out, I am improving.
Yeah.
That's kind of the goal. And it's just understanding like that process, that idea of okay, development doesn't just mean I do it, I do the reps and that's it. It's I do the reps and then time under tension. How do I add stress a little bit to it? So then I can fail, but then I fail up. And then same thing, add that stress, increase the stress, and then fail up and up and up. And then I start seeing, oh shoot, I'm actually a whole lot higher up as a result of that failure under tension.
Yeah, like just take shooting to really build the right process for that. Count your shots, whether it's reps or makes, so that you can chart your results, so that you can measure your improvement.
Yeah,
But
well,
without that,
the other thing too is when you chart improvement. So it's really important that coaches don't. If you don't have somebody standing next to somebody when they shoot, then we're we're just building a bunch of non-shooters who are going to be non-players.
hmm,
So I want to slowly progress them in their non-shooting side first. So can I get to where they feel me? They know I'm there. And I tell them I'm not going to block your shot. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to be right here. I want you to feel that, and I want you to have that energy. So then they feel that. Then I get on their shooting side and I do the exact same thing because that it's going to play. It's going to trigger with the brain. So how do I do that? Then I want to start adding somebody else who's going to come late to the product, who's going to come late to the closeout, who's going to do that, and then slowly progress. And then that's where that conflict, like, dude, I'm good. I'll shoot in your face all day long. So it's like I got to get to that level. So what's that look like when it comes to shooting?
I could see that definitely happening in a small setting with maybe you're working with a pro, you're there, and you've got some other members that are there too. What advice would you say for an environment like mine where it's me in the gym with 25 players?
Well, that's even easier. A, you don't ever have to rebound. B,
Yeah.
you don't have to stand by one kid. And C, the other kids are doing all the work. So you can easily go, okay, well, I've got one rebounder, I got a passer, and I got somebody standing next to my shooter. So you have a group of four, and you could easily go, okay, we're going to do one of each. Or maybe all we're going to do is get rebounds, groups of three, throw it to the shooter, and they're running on the non-dominant hand side.
Hmm.
Boom, and that's all they do. And then after I close out, then I just turn. Now I'm getting ready to catch and receive my shot. Boom, boom, and then now we're getting closeouts nonstop.
I like that.
We're moving. So
Yeah.
it's just ways of trying to figure out how can I utilize everybody else? Because if they're moving, they're still moving.
Yeah.
So we want them moving. We don't want them standing straight and doing that. But we also want your eyes being able to where they're best suited, which is detaching and being able to see the whole picture, being able to see the entire gym. Hey, I can now see his footwork. But if I'm legitimately just contesting him right next to him, what am I missing? I'm missing his balance. And I can't miss the balance because balance is the most important thing.
Hmm.
So I got to make sure that I can see the balance or whatever it is I do. So it's much easier to have smaller groups and get those shots up where somebody else is rebounding. Because if you're rebounding, you're missing the takeoff sometimes, you're missing the landing because you already know it's off. Like the second the kid shoots it, you're like, dude, I'm chasing this one. I know it's going. And then you miss his
Yeah.
balance. Well, maybe his balance is his one focus that he's allowed to focus on shooting, and you missed that focus
Hmm.
because you're having a rebound. So
I like that idea.
I try not to let myself ever get caught where I got a rebound.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not going to work that way.
Yeah.
But I would plan my practice accordingly on that.
That's good. What are some signs that balance is the issue for a shooter?
Oh, I'll give you three. Let's go through. Shoulders going back means they're not on balance. It means they're fading back, which means they're not sticking tall. Like we want to focus on our players sticking tall, which means you're at your tallest point on the release. So if I do this and I go back, I'm no longer at my tallest point. So it's super easy to tell if somebody's shoulders are going back, boom, not doing it. Like, automatically not on balance. You'll see NBA players. Watch tonight. You're going to see guys shoot horrible shots, all based on these three things that we're going to discuss. So you have shoulders going back. The other one that's super, super important is the fact of, and I do it where we stick even longer. Our feet don't stick our landing. So it might be that I stick and I shoot and I land on one leg more than the other. So it's going to be left, right. So you'll see typically, anytime I see that, then my first instinct is to ask if they've injured their leg. So did they injure their knee or did they injure their ankle? And most of them will be like, yeah, I messed up my ankle. I got you. Now let's focus on making sure that we land on both feet at the same time. So how do I do that? So then we focus on those step-by-step pieces. Okay. The other one might be I either land too narrow, feet together, or I land way outside my hips. Well, that's super easy to catch and to be able to see if they don't normally do that, if that's not their rhythm base, that's where their power is lacking. So you'll see short shots happen, or you'll just see that they're not on balance because they're super skinny, which then means that they can't stick for landing, which then means that they'll either fade back or pick up that foot right away and then start stepping back. Anybody who shoots and then backs out of their shot is not a shooter by any stretch of the imagination. Steph Curry does not count in that.
He's a little bit of a freak.
No, I mean, he does all the other factors.
Yeah.
He does all the other factors. His balance hand stays vertical through the shot. His wrist snap speed is at the fastest level I think we've probably ever seen in NBA shooter shoot, which is probably closer to the number one outside of balance. But yeah, the fact that he does that is just so ridiculously fast, and it helps him with rotation. It helps him with power. It helps him with everything.
2 questions. Can you take a good shooter and create a great shooter? Can you take a bad shooter and make them a good shooter?
So, absolutely. Number one is focusing on who's passing my teammates, my shooter, the ball. So I'll make my shooter even better by saying, hey, we have to, if we sharpen up our passing, our shots go to the shooting pocket where they're going to like it, or just knowing, hey, most of the time players like it with the laces. So all we're doing is teaching our kids, hey, let's make sure that we're getting passes with the laces so they can catch and they don't have to turn and spin and stuff and then shoot. So I'll make you even that much better just by focusing on my players doing a better job passing. Where's that at? It's either the left shoulder, left pec, right pec. Boom, I want to hit them there every single time. And then from making a good shooter great is just understanding of what is that key? Can I improve the key? Like Halliburton, his jump shot is not very pretty, but once it goes in, right?
Yeah.
I'm not touching that. If it goes in at a 40% clip, all you're going to do is go, where can I sharpen something else? Where can I sharpen? Does he need to focus on his footwork going right, left, catching? Does he need to focus on his left, rights? Does he need to focus on catching on a shot fake and then a hop? Okay, great. So then I'm just looking at, okay, well, where is catches for the whole season? And then going, okay, well, 85% of them were going right, left off of a curl or a pin or a pop or whatever we want to look at it. So I want to sharpen up that point and go, how can I make that much better?
That's good. Coach, real quick, the speed round. These are going to be quick questions that first thing that pops in your head. I think a lot of people know you. They've listened to you, but now we're really going to know you.
Okay.
All right. Favorite ice cream flavor?
Eat ice.
You don't? Okay. If you were going to go cheat meal or something like that, what do you go to?
Okay, if I was going to go cheat meal, then I would either have Texas sheet cake, which is like almost like a brownie, but then icing right on top, and it's so good.
I'm in Texas. I know that. Yeah.
I would do that in a heartbeat. That's probably number one. Number two, close second, is like an oatmeal raisin or just a cookie cake. I could eat that. However, I'm not eating anything with wheat right now, so we're negating all that stuff.
Wow. Okay. Greatest shooter of all time?
We're going with Steph. Steph plays a close second down.
Yeah. If you were getting a player like from square one, a young kid or whatever, and you wanted to build their shot identical to somebody, who would it be? I've only asked this question to you. I've never asked that before.
I think everybody is so different. I'd have to know.
I get that. But if you had to choose a person's form that you're like, that's it.
That's a really tough.
I can think of 2 that I would maybe go for.
Clay's is probably.
That's one.
It's probably pretty spot on.
I think JJ. I think JJ's is. But you're not a fan?
JJ was a man. No, I was indeed a fan. I've been a fan of JJ when he was at Duke and
Yeah.
nobody.
I just think the mechanics, the speed, how it almost looks. That's what's interesting with Steph is the degrees of difficulty, but also the different ways that he gets into his shots. Clay is a lot more, and in my opinion, there are obviously small differences depending on the pass, the timing, the direction, but they almost look the same every time. That's just my
Clay's
thought.
upper body was really, I mean, Ray Allen, phenomenal. Just
Yeah.
his sheer landings were what really impressed me. His focus on that every single workout. Um, from Clay's standpoint, I remember, and I haven't watched Clay enough, but he would only, I want to say pop. He
Yeah.
would only pop and shoot. He would never curl and shoot.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those things like, if you know what you're only going to do, I mean, you can rep that out to where it is just perfect.
Yeah.
And Clay has done that. He has done a remarkable job. Anybody who talks bad about Clay, I probably won't listen to.
That's good. Oh, I agree with that.
And JJ too. I should
yeah.
say JJ as well.
Yeah.
I love JJ because I love his speed. That guy went so fast off of screens and coming to the ball that it was insane. And so when you see his work ethic and what he's talking about, I'm so glad that his voice is being heard and how he speaks. He's a phenomenal speaker. And I wish more people would listen.
And tough takes that I feel like everybody needs to hear, and he doesn't shy away from those moments. It is refreshing. If you had to choose 3 people to be at a dinner party with you from any time period, who would they be?
Jesus is number one, but I talk to Jesus all the time, so it doesn't mean.
I always think I got to take that off, but also it depends on who I'm talking to. So
well, he's in my shotgun every time I'm driving. I'm sitting there talking to him, so he doesn't exist, or he doesn't count for this one. Sorry.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I'll edit that out. No.
Well, edit out for him. Not
yeah. No, 3 people.
I get to do this already, so. But I enjoy it unlike anything else. So my mentor is Nick Lavery, who I work with. Objective Secure is his book. Green Beret. He's the first ever above the knee amputee to go back into Special Forces. So not just to become a Green Beret as a 2-legged dude, he became a Green Beret as a 1-legged dude. The most phenomenal story, and he is the most authentic person I've ever known, and genuine and a great listener, and he's the one who talked to me about intentionality, and I just look forward to every minute I give it. And so he would be in my group, but I already get to learn from him, so I don't know if he counts. But if he doesn't, I would spend time with Bob. I would spend time with Nick, and then probably my third person, I would have to, goodness gracious. But yeah. I will say this guy, Preston Klein. Dr. Preston Klein. He is the director, one of the directors of the Mission Critical Institute. This guy is so brilliant. He's helping Navy SEALs. He's helping all the special operations communities, trying to make it better. And how he talks and makes the most complex things simple, it's just so fun to listen to. And so I'm on every time he gets a podcast and he releases it, I automatically send him a message the hour and a half after he released it, and after I listen to it, I let him know how it goes. So those would be my 3.
Nice. Let's see. Favorite basketball movie of all time?
I'm going to have to go with Above the Rim.
Yes.
I know most people would have thought something.
He's playing ball without a ball.
Yeah. But, oh my goodness, imagine that process. Like, could you rep that stuff out? And so, like,
do you think that's legit? Can you actually be better, not just from a physical standpoint of movement, but your skill actually improved without the ball over time?
There's science behind it. Like, you can be impeccable on your feet. That's what I tell kids. Like, if you don't have a gym to warm up on, go do your footwork on your catches.
No doubt, yeah.
So from that standpoint, yeah. I mean, what does the box drills with Show and Snow Valley and USA Basketball do? It's exactly the same. So if I did it without the basketball, I can do it
Yeah,
with the
the
basketball.
movement side I get, the feel, the technical piece, even with ball handling. Like even now when I demonstrate, when I'm trying to do some, Drew Hanlon stuff, or I'm trying to do some Michael Lancaster stuff, like I can't do it anymore because I'm old and I don't play. But if I put my fist like this, I can mimic the movements. Like I can make it look. I can show exactly what we want to do,
Yeah,
but
with the feel of the ball.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't do it.
And I totally get that. But that's almost all we need to be able to do.
Hmm,
Like if I play, if I can still demonstrate, so I
yeah.
can still do it. But if you put me on the court with 9 other dudes, I'm not doing that move. I know where my skills lie. I
Hmm,
know where my strengths lie. So I would never do it, but I can still demonstrate it.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but I do know that there is science behind it. So
Yeah.
I
Maybe
believe
he
it.
was onto something. In his khakis. And
Yeah,
let's see. Okay, I'm in Texas where we
yeah.
don't have a shot clock. All right. For high school, shot clock or no shot clock.
I'm gonna go shot clock. I will go shot clock. We've been trying to do it in Missouri. I mean, obviously Illinois is like just trying to get the shot clock, and it's working for some. I understand that one time when you're gonna beat the big dog
Yep.
against the little guy because you held the ball. But what does that say? Please tell me what that says to the entire gym about your confidence level in your team.
That's a good point.
Okay, so you don't believe you're going to win because you know that if I limit their possessions and we're up 2, then hey, they're going to have to foul. Yeah, but I mean, what did you get the job? Did you get the job so that you could hold the ball and win a game?
Hmm.
I'm not a I'm not doing it. I don't believe in that. I don't like that. So I'm against the shot clock. If that's their reasoning,
Yeah.
don't want.
Favorite holiday?
I'm going either Christmas or Friday.
Friday. Friday.
Friday.
um,
Friday.
uh, besides the Bible, besides, let's take,
Take or
what,
give her off.
yeah, book you'd give someone.
Objective secure,
Wow.
hands down. Mine, not because he is my man, but because it actually will help anybody and everybody. And I don't like using absolutes, but
Yeah.
anybody and everybody to find a way to be successful with their mission.
Hmm.
It is a goal strategic manual for them to move from there to objective secure.
Say the name one more time
Nick Lavery, Lavery,
in the book.
objective secure.
All right.
So
I
that's
love
when
it.
you successfully complete a mission. That's what they say in the military. It's objective secure.
This is going to be hard for you. Oh, maybe. Last one. In basketball, who is the GOAT?
And,
Not hard. Okay.
and but here's what I like to say within this argument.
Yeah.
LeBron passed the ball when he shouldn't have.
Yes.
If LeBron went downhill, there was not one person who
Yep.
ever wanted.
He deferred. He deferred a lot. Yeah.
He easily, without any type of argument, could have been the GOAT. Hands down. But he's also done it at, like JJ even talked about it, he's done it at 25 points a game for his entire career.
Yeah.
And guess what? MJ took a year off. He got a year off.
Hmm.
And everybody forgets that.
Yeah.
Dude took a year off and
It's
got
true.
refreshed, rejuvenated, and then got to play again. Did LeBron take a year off? Did Kobe take a year? Well,
Yeah.
Kobe got his ACL, but he's still like
That's different.
it didn't
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
So don't get like we can't make the argument. But I will say MJ is the GOAT just simply because he won in the mental game over.
Yeah.
over
It's a fun talk. There's no real right answer, but it's entertaining. And it's interesting to see what people think. A lot of times that has to do with their era, like when they were watching the game. I was watching Jordan in my like teens into 20s, in that time. And so, but LeBron's been great for the game. Hey, Coach, I just want to say thank you so much for giving up your time and talking. I mean, I got so many golden nuggets from it, but a different perspective than I think you typically get and you hear. So just appreciate your authenticity and sharing. And man, that was awesome.
Yeah, well, my sincerest thanks, because it's going to help a coach. And all I am dedicated on doing is helping coaches, whether it's digital marketing, I want to help them, whether it's their leadership and their health, I want to help them, whether it's investing in their future, I want to help them. So I am so passionate about helping coaches that I will jump on any time that we can talk about this.
Go over one more time your website and then about Healthy Coach. If people want to follow you and learn more, how they do that.
Every social media is Coach J Fry, JFRY, and CoachJFry.com. So just remember Coach J Fry, and then you've got the website. So it's .com on that one. Healthy Leader is up there. It's on the website. Healthy Sales Leader, I think, is up there as well, and so is Healthy Coach. So it's just a place for them to understand and to learn. Like, we're trying to help teams. We're trying to help everybody move their needle in any way, shape, or form. We do mountain trips with teams. So we actually take teams up a 14,000-foot mountain.
Oh, wow.
Down and teach curriculum and all sorts of good stuff. So it's a blast, and any way that we help serve coaches, we jump at it.
Last question. Fan of Spartan Race? Is that what that shirt is?
No, this is actually Team Machine. So this is Nick Lavery. This is our company, Warrior Legend, Legacy. So Team Machine is who I live to support, and
love it.
I get a chance to speak with them every now and then. So it's more than just supporting them, but I get to actually be a part of a really special team.
Nice.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the Jamodi Podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.